This is the Bar Steward's Enquiry.
Right? You're talking absolute rubbish. Absolute rubbish.
In what way?
You were an underachiever in life. I saved your bacon one time. You were gone.
You handled that well. I couldn't save you. But you did the right thing.
But that's why you don't know anything about racing, John.
I didn't say I do.
Right?
I'm saying that...
What have you contributed to racing? You're one of these take-out merchants. Take out all you can.
A big warm welcome to the Bar Stewards Enquiry weekend preview show. It's the Irish Guineas weekend. In fact, it's a TV extravaganza. We've got 10 terrestrial races on television on the Saturday, and then it carries on at Ireland for the 1,000 Guineas and the Tattersalls Golf Cup on Sunday. So with this extravaganza of racing, who better to guide you through the weekend with some winners? It's myself, John Lang, Andy Richmond and Jack Veach. Good evening, chaps.
Good evening.
Good evening, all.
Yes,
Good evening, everybody.
We're all ready for this. I've got three absolute belters, and I hope you three have too, for our wonderful listeners.
My is shit.
Yeah.
Mine aren't far off either.
Mine are brilliant. Right. Anyway, let's kick the round off. Andy Richmond, I'll come to you first for your 1 pointer.
Here we go. The Temple Stakes. An old favourite of mine, which I didn't think got the run of the race or the ground last time out. And the trainers had a winner today as well. Henry Candy, Twilight Calls. Only ninth of 14 last time out. But he ran a good race in this last year when he was just behind King's Lynn. I always feel that he needs a ground. Let's hope. I believe. Now, I'm 10 miles away from Haydock. We have had no rain for 2 weeks. None at all. So I'm praying that old Kirkland doesn't go mad with the watering can, which looked like he had done a little bit yesterday. And I think he'd managed to do something today to the track, because if you were up against the stand-side rails on the straight course, you certainly had an advantage. But I'm going to go 1 point, Twilight Calls in the Temple. Should be around 11. He's sort of down the middle of the track. All right, Connor Beasley on. And hopefully he will be able to take that race out. So I'm going to point on Twilight Calls to go one better than last year.
5-1 generally available. That's a 3:30 Haydock, the Temple Stakes, which is, of course, quite a very warm affair, warm renewal of that race that used to be run at Sandown. Jonas Leng.
On my trip to Newmarket last week, I saw several very interesting things that I wasn't aware of.
Are they suitable for publication?
I'm just about to. One of them was the fact that at the Godolphin Stud, all the stable doors have brass fittings, and they look lovely. The other thing I found out was that you can actually drive a Land Rover Discovery at approximately 110 miles an hour and still post on Facebook.
Goodness gracious.
And the other thing I found out was that La Guarida is a bloody nice filly who needed waking up in a debut race on the Rolling Mile. And she goes to Goodwood in the 2:35 tomorrow, where she's unbelievably second favourite. And I'm going to have to bet her tomorrow, because she just needed waking up. She's terrific. She got real good structure to her, moves good, strong. Nothing not to like about her. I think she'll muller that favourite tomorrow. 1 point win.
Sounds like a 3-pointer, that to me, John. Never mind a 1 point. There's some maximum confidence there.
Well, there's some debutants in there from fairly shady yards. Well, slim for shady for starters. So.
It's 7-2 generally available, John.
Yeah, those snap their hand off.
Yeah.
I was more interested about posting on Facebook. Driving 110 miles.
That was his driver on the way down. It scared him half to death, he said.
Bloody hell.
We'll send him up. We go on to mine before we come on to the premier judge of the panel, Jack Beach, who's sitting on some lovely anti-purse vouchers for our Patreon clients. So if you're not sign up to Patreon. Why are you not? Soul Sister at 100s. He's put up Arrest at 20s. Now sat both of these at like 3-1 and 9-2 respectively. Jack Veach, the anti-purse king, is available behind the Patreon screens and any other screens if you want him. Right.
I don't know about that. I don't think they were. That put them off.
You're not subbing him out for that, are we?
Well, it's desperate times, John. Affordability.
That's what it's come to, has it?
Affordability and all that. We're gonna have to, it's be like the days in the war. You know, we have to perform. Anyway, right. We come on to mine in the Silver Cup. This is the Charlie Hills trained Bodorgan. Now, John also reminds me about his dad that he goes dead after Royal Ascot, and so I'm still capitalising on Charlie Hill's early season form. There's nothing not to like about this. This was the one entered in the Doncaster Maiden. It was an unrunner. It was scratched. Well, it wasn't declared, but it was entered, and he always runs a nice one in that. And it found its feet towards last back end. It was third to Enfjar that won very impressively the other night at Chelmsford. Arabian Storm was third to Should Have Been a Ring in a listed race. That was second in the race. Military Order, no less, was fourth in that race, obviously over an inadequate 7 furlongs. And then he bolted up at his maiden last back end. You can bet your life, Charlie boy will be readying Bodorgan for this. This will be in the plan. A massive 14-1 is available. That's just stupid. So at 1 point on the nose for me. Wide draw. So Holly might have to use her skills.
Holly?
Yeah.
Charlie Hills?
Yeah.
Holly?
Yeah.
Good luck with that project.
Yeah. So Bodorgan for me at 14s, 1 point to basically get one over John for his terrible comments there. Jack Veach.
Well, you'd have thought with 47 meetings on tomorrow, it would take us a while to find a clash, but we've already got one in round 1, I'm afraid. We go to Haydock in the 3:30 in the Temple Stakes, and no Claxons here, unfortunately. Whilst I definitely respect Andy's case on Twilight Calls, I think my angle was quite keen to take on the 2-3-year-olds who've taken a big chunk in the market. They've not got a very good record in the race. I don't really like 3-year-olds with open company at this time of the year. I thought Platinum Queen particularly was an out-and-out 2-year-old. I thought at one point they'd sold her over to the States, so I was a bit surprised to see her end up with Thick Rog, but there you are. And dramatised equally, I wasn't 100% keen on. So I've nailed down on the James Tate Filly Royal Acclaim. Now, this one was, very progressive last season, went off favourite for the Nun, thought the hype train was well in swing, didn't quite pan out as liked, but still an unexposed filly. 4-year-olds tend to do pretty well in this race. And I thought the pace angle there with Platinum Queen will go off like the clappers. You've got Live in the Dream. There is a situation where Live in the Dream, as Andy pointed out with the standside rail, might just get an easy and bolt up, but I'm hoping not. I think there might be a bit of a collapse.
Sorry, it's a different track tomorrow.
Oh, is it? Oh, that's
they're on the
angle out the window.
They're on the outer tomorrow. So God knows what he'll have done to that.
Well, yeah. Fuck knows. In all honesty, I mean, the ground is questionable. I mean, I think it's nearly 50 mils he's stuck on this week, so God knows what we'll see tomorrow. I think we had good slow side of good times today, but we'll save that rant for another day. Back to the filly, I think there's still more in this one this year, and I think she's definitely Group 1 class. I was quite happy with the price, happy to go for 1 point win.
Yes, an interesting clash between our two judges, Andy Richmond and Jack Veach. Andy with Twilight Calls, and Jack finishing the round off with Royal Acclaim.
Just like the 3-year-olds.
Yeah, well, actually, Jack makes a very good point. Actually, on the 3, I think it's less than a mile at this time of year. It's certainly not the best to be backing 3-year-olds.
Isn't Royal Acclaim the one Adam Norman wanted to molest at York?
Yeah,
that's the one,
sexually molest. He literally did. He said, yeah. He actually inferred that. Yeah, well, we know what Adam's about. Disgraceful man.
We know now.
Yes, and Royal Acclaim was that very beast. He loves this filly, does Adam Norman. So I don't know if that's a good or a bad thing. But that's thank you to Jack.
He's not at Haydock, he'll be all right.
He might be, actually. So that finishes round 1. Thank you very much. I'll kick us off then on round 2. We come to, this is at Chester. I hate betting it. I really do. I hate Chester with a passion, but I cannot ignore this. This is absolutely ludicrous. In fact, this was close to my best bet because of their prices. But so it's the 5:15 race, the extended 10 furlong handicap, and it's the Richard Hannon trained Play Actor. The only downside is you've got a great drawing stall one, but there is Liam Canary in the saddle, which isn't amazing, and I wouldn't choose that to anyone or put anyone through that. But we're going to have to go through the ringer here at 10-1, which is incredible. It's going to be a 2-point straight on the nose bet. This horse is a beautiful physical thing. It literally is. On debut, it was fat. I actually noted it how fat it was on debut. I actually laid it in the place. I thought, if this place is, and by the way, if Kieran Fallon hadn't got up the dead rail on the inside and looked after it, it would have been probably in the frame. The next time it ran behind one of John's specials at Newmarket, Waipiro, Liberty Lane second. You know, the form is top class. And again, it wasn't that busy under Brian Moore. And then last time it headed back to Lingfield and it was behind Dragon Icon, etc., Hala Dubai. That's a very strong maiden. And again, it wasn't off, looked after. This horse will improve a lot, and these owners don't own rubbish. Basically, they want good horses to take back to Australia and race for proper prize money over there. So Play Actor, 2 points win, 10-1. What a bet to get us off. That is a great bet tomorrow. That will not go off 10s because I'll make sure it doesn't. And if it carries on being 10s, then I'll be skint by the end of Saturday. Jack Veitch, 2 points.
We're sticking at Haydock Leeds to see what's Tellwright Slop's got in store for us. And we're off 3 o'clock, Sandy Lane. Interesting race this year. Obviously got the well-touted Little Big Bear back in action. Be interesting to see what he's about. I'm personally taking a swell. I know he didn't run any sort of race, but anything coming out of that Guineas, I'm not touching at the moment. So I'm happy to let him run. Obviously, if he runs anywhere near his class, he'll win this. But a bit of a price play for me, and it's the Jane Chapel Hyam trained Mill Stream. I liked this horse a lot last year. Thought it ran very well in the Acomb. At one point, looked like it was going to come up and take the race. It was the last off the bridle. Kirby did his usual kind of gangly armed move to the rail, and he didn't quite see out the 7 furlongs. So pleased to see they've dropped him back and they put him away. And I thought a price of 16-1, he was pretty appealing. I mean, Bradsell Cold Case, they bring that Ascot form, which did look pretty solid. And Matilda Picot, again, is one that's come out of the Guineas. But I thought this one would shape into a nice sprinter this year, and I like the fact they've been conservative with him. Yard looks like it's turned a corner after a poor patch with a few wins this week, and I thought the 16s looked overs, and with the dead 8, it makes for a nice wanker bet. So 1 point each way, Mill Stream.
Indeed, for Jane Chapel Hyam, and in the saddle, Marco Gianni, 40 a day Marlborough Marco Gianni, chain smoking Marco with a toot. To finish the day for Mill Stream. Toot and Fluke. 16-1. Bill for Jack on Jane's Runner. Thank you, Jack. A lot of value there. Will Little Big Bear show up tomorrow? We'll get onto that in a bit. Okay, Andy Richmond.
Right. You didn't expect me to let Cartmel drift by, did you?
No,
we had hopes
earlier.
We said Andy's gonna have one for Cartmel.
You should all have a day out at Cartmel. All you flat.
Brilliant.
You really would love it. Fantastic course. It was my favourite course to work at when I was on the old telly box. Fantastic little course. And I got one in a handicap chase. It's not a big price, but it's a horse I really like. Ran really well last time out. 2:45. Lights are green. Didn't muck around with it too much over hurdles. In fact, they only ran it in one handicap hurdle. Didn't run a bad race. Banged it over chases at Hexham first time out. Unfortunately, he came down at the last when I had a really good price on him, but hey-ho, never mind. Off a mark of 85, handicap, I left him alone, and he went in last time out in a 0-110. It's not a great race tomorrow. He's probably got Ballynagrand to beat, who won last time out, but that was under a very good ride from the front from Gavin Sheehan. He's not the most consistent. I think Lights Are Green is an improving young chaser, 6-year-old. It's not a great price, but a couple of points on the nose. If you are going to Cartmel, that would be my nap on the card.
Lovely, jubbly. 9-4. 9-4. Top of the head.
Top of the head.
Andy Richmond for Lights of Green at Cartmel tomorrow. And I must also remind patrons and Patreon non-subscribers that Andy Richmond does an excellent weekly National Hunt note, but give us your 7 notes, please. Another begging letter there mid through the pod. But he does. He's a great column, and obviously a lot of patrons are appreciative that they're not just listening to flat junkies all the time. Right, okay, so that's myself, Jack, and Andy. Now it's John to finish the round.
Well, since we've got such great racing over here, I thought I'd nip over to the Curragh. In the 4:15, King of Scotia had an absolute nightmare last time. Terrible run. No looking running whatsoever. Could definitely have won that race. Everything should help here. The trip, better ground. Icing on the cake, he's been dropped £2 for that ridiculously unlucky run. Point each way. Can't see him out the frame.
With Billy Lee in the saddle. So that's King of Scotia, John likes. No sort of run whatsoever last time. And 7-1, John. You get 4 pegs for that. Is that okay?
Beautiful.
One each way for John. 7-1. King of Scotia to finish the round. Right, now it's the max bet rounds. I'm going to swing it back round to where shall I go? Andy Richmond.
Right, I'm that far behind Mr. Franks, who I've just had a conversation with. I'm going to have to try and be a bit creative here. Patreon subscribers will probably have read about these two because they're 2 beating the bias horses. I'm going to have an each way double. There we are on Maywake and Nathaniel Green. Now they're both, as I say, they're both in BTB at the moment, so horses that have run well against a draw bias or a pace bias. And Maywake has the added extra tomorrow of Mr. Fahy has put the old cheeky pieces on, which he does very, very well with. It's in the usual complex York handicaps, but I thought he ran really well last time out. If you've read the column, which I'm sure plenty of people have or haven't, then you'll know exactly the reasons why I am with him. Last time out at Musselburgh, very, very promising effort from Maywake. He's second of the year, and he ran a very, very good 3rd of 12 on soft ground. And I think he's much, much better on better ground. If you look at his 3 wins, the key point tomorrow is that he's been ridden a little bit closer to the pace on all of those. So I'm hoping that they ride him a little bit closer to the pace. As I say, they've got the cheek pieces on, and Mr. Fahy has got a good record when he sticks the old cheekies on. That's the first leg of the double. And then we are going with Nathaniel Green, who ran a really good race behind Sheer Rocks last time out in a 1.5 mile handicap for the shirt. There was no gallop, just absolutely just needs a greater test of stamina. He gets that tomorrow. He's got the favourite to beat. It hasn't been out for a while, for the Gosdens, and I think both of them, I'll be very, very surprised and considerably poorer if both don't hit the frame. And I'm hoping that both of them will win. So that's Maywake and Nathaniel Green. Maywake is in the first race at York tomorrow afternoon. And
the 1:35.
The 1:30. And Nathaniel Green is in the 3:10 at glorious Goodwood.
It is, and you're getting 11-2 and 7-2 in your each way, 1.5 point. No, is it? So are you going for an each way double?
Yeah,
1.5 each way double. 11-2 the first one, 7-2. Nathaniel.
Try and blast me way back.
Why not? Yeah, indeed. We allowed them last year. We allowed the doubles for a bit of sport to help people get back into the competition, which is, of course, is only a bit of fun between contributors, unless it's me that takes bets on Quentin Franks at 5-2 to do my bollocks. It's all fun for you lot. Yeah, it's fun for you lot.
Quentin Franks a few Canadian dollars.
Yeah, you're all bastards. You're all laughing at this. Right.
You know he's all paid us to do badly.
Yeah, I know. The problem is that he's doing very, very well. He's like that. Awful man. Awful person from Canada. Yeah, there's plenty of them. Right, so that's Andy's best bet. Thank you for that. Jonas, I'm coming to you.
Well, Franks hasn't paid me, so I'm going to break the fucker.
Yeah.
I think Jack was mentioning earlier he was wondering how much I was going to have on Happy Tim's tomorrow.
Yeah, he was. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, if Jack's thinking of going into the old psychic game, I would suggest he's probably better off leaving it to Doris Stokes. Because despite the fact I am tipping one of Happy Tim's, it's not the one he thought.
Ah.
We're off to Haydock for the 410. Spirit of Applause was slacker than a really slack thing. You remember Wilf Slack that used to open the batting for Middlesex?
Yeah.
It was slacker than that.
Against him, John. I played against him.
Well, this horse was slacker than Wilf Slack for the pipe opener on soft at Ripon, but showed enough early to suggest he can probably get a decent, prominent position here. He's won off 78, races off 75 here. That's before he had in the kids' claim. I think he's up against plenty of shit here, to be honest. At least in this part of the track. I'm prepared to take a punt on the draw having a similar effect on the other course, because I think 12 to 1 is too big to miss. 3 points win.
Woohoo! Bingo bongo, 3 points win at 16 to 1, generally available for John on Spirit of Applause on the slackest of slack bets last time.
On the slack.
On the slack, absolutely, yeah. Resting on the thigh.
Steady.
Right. Anyway, enough of my smut. That's John with his very best and a good price too. Can I match that? No, because we've two different types of punter on this show. There's those that love a price and those that don't, and just want to have the lot on something tomorrow. And I am telling you to have the lot on this tomorrow. Have what you want on. It simply wins. It's 13 to 8. I know that's people said it. Anyone can tip these. It's not about that though. It's what price it should be. This should be a 2s on shot. Goes in the 130 at Goodwood tomorrow. Francesco Clemente. This horse last season was an absolute work in progress, and I was convinced after its Sandown Maiden win, when it was dossing on the front, that this simply was a stakes horse. It then bolted up at Newmarket in a uncompetitive sort of race, but nevertheless, it won by 9 lengths. You don't win by 9 lengths off a mark of 98, I think it was. You just don't do it against what you'd call yardsticks. Nothing spectacular, but yardsticks. And this horse for me, I put down as this will be a Group 1 horse. Well, look at the Group 1 entries throughout the season. They haven't messed about here. Irish Champion, Eclipse, right? They're not messing about here. They know what they've got here. So I thought I'll just get my snout to check, like I did with the Gosden filly at the Dante meeting for Free Wind, to check the well-being. And basically, this is a machine. So you can have your Phantom Flight, you can have your El Dramas, you can have the rest. There's not going to be a sweat on this. This is a very strong bet. I've bet this with sizable amounts already through a few agents. So I might get paid by Christmas, but that doesn't matter. But 13 to 8 for me, Francesco Clemente. That will just pay for anything you want this weekend. Get on. Cannot be more confident than that. Jack Veitch.
Hard to follow that confidence, Lee, but I am pretty confident about this one. We are off to the Curragh, and probably the premier race of the weekend, I suppose, along with the 1000s. It goes in the 2000 Guineas, and we are looking at the Aidan O'Brien trained Paddington. My angle here, as I think I alluded to in my previous bet, I'm quite keen to take on that Guineas form, 2000 Guineas form. 7 notes a month. Lot will know that I wrote up something for the St James's Palace where I went in depth about my thoughts on that race. I don't think it was the strongest renewal. I think these two, Royal Scotsman and High Royale, have been turned out pretty quickly. I think Royal Scotsman is just the wrong price for me. He'll want cut in the ground. He's not going to get it here. I think it will be pretty quick. Spencer doesn't give me much confidence either. He ran very keen that race, and I'm not sure he can turn it up 3 weeks later or whenever it is that quickly. So I thought, Paddington, he's taken a bit of a slower approach, I suppose, into a classic, but he's looked impressive for me in his 2 starts this season, particularly on the last start. Done most of his racing on soft ground, but Sayuni, typically top of the ground. His action doesn't suggest to me he's an out-and-out soft ground horse. Got no worries about him probably improving for the better ground, in all honesty. And to be honest, how often do you get an Aidan O'Brien first choice in an Irish classic at 4 to 1? Not very often. Proud and Regal for me, disappointing on last start. I backed that quite strongly, but he looks too slow for me. Cairo will probably be in there to make the pace for this one. I was surprised with the price and more than happy to row in with a confident 3-point win.
3-point win at 4-1, generally available for Jack Beach in the Irish big one tomorrow. Okay then, chaps. First of all, listeners, we hope you've enjoyed the rounds. Something for all there. You've got a shorty with max confidence. You've got big prices. You've got one over the sticks. What more do you want on a show like this? Anyway, we may as well cut time by previewing the Irish 2000 now, as we've just come in on the back of Jack there with Paddington. Jonas, surely you've got to be looking at a few shekels at your 3-year-old to follow, Kwa Shamar.
I can't knock back his 50s is so big.
Mm.
You know, I mean, he is ours of some potential, shall we say. And I'm a little bit insulted that he's 50s, to be honest.
Well, listen, the way he won at Dundalk, I have him coming out about he's ran that Dundalk race on the Billy Idol with absolutely hardly any pressure whatsoever. He's ran I've got him out at about 100.
Yeah.
So, yeah, what we're looking basically. You've got to come on a stone, but that's the unknown bit.
There's a lot she could have done with this other than running a classic.
Yep.
You know, when I was going through the race, I got it down to 5, and he was one of them. So I've got to back him.
Any other things you like in the race?
Well, Royal Scotsman on form, you've got to have him in the mix, but the Spencer Vulcan doesn't fill me with joy, to be honest, because I think we know what's going to happen there. and it's not always a good idea at the Curragh. Paddington's going the right way, you know. Proud and Regal, you'd say, would again have a solid form chance. But I'm too late, man, at 50s.
Yeah, well, that's where I was. I was with you on that. That's the speculative punt I'm going to have on the race. Shamar. Take Jack's point of view on board also with his max on Paddington. Andy Richmond, any view on this?
Probably rowing with what you boys have said. You probably know far more about it than I do at the moment. Paddington looks, I think I agree with Jack. That 2000 Guineas form is questionable, I think, is the answer. But the other Harrington horse, Bold Discovery, back on good ground.
I've got a big note on that from the start of the season, Andy, saying I hope she runs this in the Jersey Stakes.
Yeah,
I don't think it's quite a miler.
Yeah, it's an interesting horse. So I'd certainly, might not be.
It's a Grand Stamp. It's much more impressive sort than man.
One I wanted to keep an eye on, shall I say?
Interesting stuff. Okay, right. So we've started in Ireland with that. We'll come back to another race in Ireland tomorrow as well. In fact, we'll go there now, may as well. I wanted to look at the Greenland Stakes in Ireland tomorrow. John, coming to you because obviously Art Power makes a quick reappearance after a disgraceful ride, as you described it on the day at the Dante meeting. You was less than impressed with Thick Dave, so Thick Dave's been jocked off for O'Sheen, which is a bit harsh on Thick Dave.
Because he's won on it at the Curragh, hasn't he?
2 from 2, wide margin wins.
I think that's a little bit unfair on the way, you know. And, well, I think the ground will be all right.
Taking plenty on.
Yeah, I thought the interesting one, actually, that had 2 blowouts last year was Twilight Jet, because he went to Ascot last year and people were saying he had a very fair chance of winning that Group 1. And he ran an absolute stinker. And then they said they'd got him back and they took him to the July Cup. And he ran another stinker. So he's only 9-2 to win this. I mean, they must think they've got him back again. So,
that's fresh with carrots.
Yeah, I mean, he's on a hat trick for stinkers, like. So I mean, you've got to be careful. But I'm curious to see how he shapes. If you put a gun to me, I'd probably have to back Art Power, but I don't think I'll have a bet.
I mean, Jack. I mean, it's Garrus is 6-4 favourite. It'll make John sick if that wins.
I know. I think that sums up the race, really, Lee. I mean, it's a pretty poor quality Group 2, isn't it? But yeah, I would agree with John's points on Twilight Jet. I was a fan of his last year. Couple of blowouts. Interesting to see where if they have got him back at all. He's definitely interesting. But yeah,
I had a right whack on him at that.
So did I, unfortunately. So he owes me a few quid, but it'll probably be one I sit out of, I think.
Okay, Andy, anything to add?
No, just listening to you boys on that one. I think Gareth, 6-4. Yeah, wouldn't really appeal. I'd probably be rather a layer than a backer on that particularly. But
it's Charlie Hills, isn't it?
It's pre-Royal Ascot though. That's the point, isn't it? But
it's Charlie Hills at 64, Andy. It's a quick way to the shit house, isn't it?
It's usually like back in Amy Turner or anything, isn't it? But although she did have a winner this afternoon, much to my chagrin this afternoon.
Good old Ailey. Right.
Do you know, there's one bloke he thinks he can get a double of Charlie Hills with Ollie. And then Liam Kennedy at Chester. I don't know who it was now. I forget.
Doris Stokes, wasn't it?
Yeah. My hard cash is going on these. Hard. I'm going in hard, really hard. Like in the fake taxi. Right. The 150.
Oh, Bill doesn't leave you flaccid.
I thought you would have been at Wembley this weekend.
The producer's going.
Must be going.
Yeah, producer going. I'm on telly duty. I've got to mind the telly,
Amazing comeback the other week.
Superb. A tremendous side, Sheffield Wednesday. Anyway, right, go to Andy's local, which is Haddock, the 115 race. Old Kirkland has been slopping it on all week. Producing ground slower than good on times, but still claiming it's good to firm. Yeah, well done, Kirkland. Yeah, you're certainly an entity on that one. We go to the 115 race. I'm surprised to see this on TV, actually, but we dealt with the cards here. Anything in this?
So, Townland was a good favourite, really.
Did you?
Probably get a soft lead. Yeah, easy.
Interesting.
I tell you one yard I wouldn't touch at the moment, and that's the Mick Appleby yard. Unless they've had a winner today, and he hadn't when last time I checked. The last month he's 0 from 62.
Wow, that's a very good point. Yeah.
And it's not as though that they are. If you look at the figures generated, it's not like some of them when they're below their. I never like to say yards completely out of form, but they're running below par. They're below their winners above expected figure. None of this strike rate bollocks. But you look at his percentage runners beaten figures. And they're dreadful. They're not beating anything home. It's not like he's having like 20 seconds. They're running like drains.
Yeah. No, it's a fair point. And
but nobody, I'm sure somebody will go and say, "Oh, it's been fantastic." Like you all say, "Oh, fantastic." You check all these times these people on telly say, "Oh, fantastic run." He's really in form. There's about one winner in about a month or something.
Very streaky, is Mick. Very streaky. He's one of them, like, he'll get on a run and, like, nearly everything wins, and then he goes quiet for a bit. I don't know if it's how he trains them, maybe to get them up and down the weights, but no idea.
Andy, what do you make of these running to form percentages in the post for trainers?
I don't use them, but I suppose you can use them as a guide. I tend to look at form, the form of horses or the form of yards by sort of a month, couple of weeks, maybe a bit further back. Take the percentage runners beaten figures and the wax figure, which is probably the best sort of guide and judgment rather than the bland strike range.
Yeah, because I'm just looking at them here for this race, and the more or less got Appleby in similar sort of form to everybody else, apart from the resurgent Phil Kirby and the bloke I thought was dead, Mark Rimmel.
No, I saw it. He had a winner at Yarmouth the other day, didn't he? I think I saw him on the telly chatting with.
Was it on the news?
It was on the news. It was on Sky Sports Racing, which I'd flicked over. But I did have the sound down at the time, which I usually do.
I thought they broke in with a special bulletin with Hugh Edwards or something.
It could well have. It
was up there with the Queen dying, wasn't it?
I mean, even the favourite in that yard, the O'Meara yard, or O'Mara, whichever way you want to look at it, is
they like Mara, so
below
like
par. Again, they're very streaky, aren't they?
Yeah. Anyway, Jack, have you anything to add to this?
Absolutely nothing, Lee.
No, we'll move on quickly. 150 race. We
got a bit of mileage out of that, didn't we? This is such a shit race.
We did, actually. Yeah. Punters, I'm sure. John at least has given us certainty. Could double that with Francesco Clemonti, a 15-minute quick in and out, and then off you and off you top to the boozer after 2 wins, after a double. Yeah.
15 minutes doesn't close our clearly.
Yeah.
You could make that. You'll give 50 quid away if you back these two and they both win. There you go.
Yeah.
Bit of bogger.
Did you just a bit of foreplay?
Yeah.
I've seen you eat oysters. Right. 150.
Slurp.
150 Haddock. Sorry if you eat your tea. Right. Law of the Sea is joint favourite with Rafe and Ralph's Carzola.
Shared oysters we are misses, and you'll let it happen.
Absolutely. He did. It took place. Right, 150 Haddock. Law of the Sea is 2-1 joint with Carzola. Second off the trainer, change for Ian Williams and Will Buick. Unlucky in the Chester Cup was Law of the Sea. That's the winner, isn't it, chaps?
Pulled like the wrath of God, didn't it?
Yeah.
And on the inside, it really did pull hard as well. But yeah, it was. I must admit, when I was considering the selections for the BTB column, he nearly slipped in the other week, but in the end, I changed my mind on him. But yeah, it looks between him and Corzola, doesn't it? I was on a 4-timer, but when I looked earlier, that Law of the Sea was a slightly bigger price, and that would have sort of tempted me in another race that again, it's a bit like the first race. I mean,
yeah.
What the hell's it doing on the telly box?
Lot of money for Law of the Sea is like 4-1 into 2-1's put me off. But Will Buick on for Franny Norton, Jack. That's a big jockey upgrade, is it not?
Yeah, definitely is. I think he'd have been the play should the price have holds. I think the Fav might be a little bit vulnerable. I know he was impressive last time out, but up 10. Loped to Vega, did it nicely on soft ground. I mean, I know it's Haydock, but it's going to be quicker to a degree. I'd have probably been with Law of the Sea. If that drifts, it might be worthy of a few quid.
Yeah. John, anything in this?
No.
225, Silver Bowl time. Obviously, Bedorgan for me, much to John's dismay. Holly and Charles Hill's teaming up for a dream team.
I'll be cheering for it because we're in that bloody tipping thing,
yeah, the Dandy Naps, yeah, with Quentin's group, yeah. Royal Cape is your selection, John. Do you want to expand on why you like Royal Cape?
Liked him since day one. I thought the maiden in which he ran second was very good. And then he absolutely pulverised him last time, didn't he? The horse really coming to himself, I think. And I think 88's a bit daft, to be honest.
Yeah, it's not 8s now. I think.
No, 88.
88, sorry. I thought, yes, 88, yeah. I mean, like you say, do you think it represented more than 88 last time? I know Huey was waxing lyrical about it after the race. And when I say Huey waxing lyrical, that doesn't mean he's saying to get Huey excited, you've literally got to, I don't know, you poke a mic under him and it's like he has to just.
Maybe that old lady that used to have been training with Jeremy Tree showing a bit of ankle. That get Huey excited.
Yeah, the glint was in his eye, so like you say, 88 might be very lenient for Royal Cape also in a warm-looking contest. Jack and Andy, thoughts?
Yeah, I like.
Go on, Jack. Go on.
Yeah, no, I like your angle on Dorgandy. That Newmarket maiden looks really hot. So 87's probably not the top of him, is it? Royal Cape again. I appreciate John's angle there. Do like Covey though. I think he looks like a possibly progressive type. It's a good race, this one. But if I were to side with anything, Lee, it would probably be yours.
The prices anyway. Yeah. Andy.
I thought there was one tucked away down the bottom from Mr. Cox with Marco Gianni on Just Bring It. He looks capable of better. Bounced back quite nicely last time out at Newmarket. It was last Saturday. Goes up in grade a bit, but I didn't think he was the worst. There's been a bit of money around for it as well. So in a race where I must admit that 3-year-old handicaps are not my forte, and I usually try and avoid them like the plague. But I thought Just Bring It was a little bit of interest, and he is a sea of blue all across Oddschecker at the moment, apart from the Entain boys. If you can never get a bet on with them, who are holding it at 12s in Spoil Sports.
Yeah,
good luck with getting a bet on with any of them.
Yeah, Franks likes that one a bit at the prices. Yeah. So you're in good company again, Andy, with that.
Yeah.
Three nice selections there then. Royal Kit, we're against the Fav. It's too short, I think, Curvy. I wouldn't back Curvy at 9-4. 3 o'clock Haydock is the Sandy Lane, where Little Big Bear, of course, heads the market. And seeing him back in trips, probably a massive plus. John, I'm coming to you first to ask you about this. Jack's obviously tipped Millstream in this. But are you surprised to see him out so quickly after the Guineas?
Not really. He had no race in the Guineas, didn't he? It wasn't like he made a big mid-race move and led 2 furlongs out and maybe got emptied out and finished 5th. You know, I mean, his race was over 3 furlongs out. So, I mean, he'd have done well in a pace of work at all.
Yeah,
you can get him out as soon as you want. I mean, this would fit the profile very, very nicely for Ascot as well, because you're looking 3 weeks to Ascot. It's 3 weeks since he's run, and that would probably be about right for a horse of his ilk. So I think the timing of this is probably key to where he's coming here. And I mean, let's face it, if this was 3 weeks after the last run last year, how much would we want on at 6-4?
No, it's interesting. Just looking at the prices as well. It's 5-1 for a Commonwealth. It's 8-1 for a July Cup. Could you see him as that type of horse, John?
You've only got to forgive one absolute aberration, haven't you? And then he's banging the frame for all those type of races. Tomorrow will tell you a lot. If you're feeling brave, stick 400 on him and make it interesting.
And then have more, and keep having more on all day.
You just keep at it till your ears bleed. Yeah.
That's the game we're in. We all know that.
Gamble while you can.
Yeah.
You'll be getting your bank statements checked now.
Yeah. Desperate times. Andy, anything to add?
I must admit, I did like the run of Bradsell coming back last time out from injury. He was virtually home and hosed. From memory, I remember him trading about 102, 103 on Betfred before he got done close home by Cold Case. I think he'll reverse that form. You could say the unknown is Little Big Bear, but I appreciate John's comments and bringing him back from there. You got to trust Aiden, haven't you? As a lot of people will, if they're shoveling it on around 6-4. It's not a race I'd have a bet in, but I must admit I'd quite like to see Bradsell win.
Good stuff. Okay, Jack would like to see Millstream win.
How often do they chuck Frankie up for a fail up?
Well, that's it.
They don't, do they?
No.
If they were wondering about this one, Shamey or someone had read it, wouldn't they? That knows it.
Do you reckon it was like week before Newmarket because they knew, like on gallops, that it probably wouldn't stay?
Oh, mate.
He said all winter. I mean, he went full Triple Crown with the other one, didn't he? So.
As I say, if this required a fail up and somebody coming back with a detailed report for Aiden, this would be one of the lads in the yard, wouldn't it? They might even see him that road Serpentine get their leg up.
I thought he was
well, yeah, probably is. Whenever they stick Frankie up, it's because they're after it, aren't they?
Yeah, they want to see. Yeah. They want to see the balls out tomorrow. Yeah. No, I agree with that. It's probably yeah. I see what you're saying. Right, 3:30 Haydock, the Temple Stakes, where the Platinum Queen is on the slide, putting at 7-4 by some firms, as we're broadcasting now, currently around 4-1. As Jack has already mentioned about the...
It's funny, isn't it? Everybody's talking about the improved approach to racing from the Tiddleys, and they bought this, and then they sent it to Roger Varian, probably based on his massive success with Dragon Symbol last year.
Yeah. I mean,
tremendous move, that, isn't it?
Yeah, I wouldn't have gone there, but like you said, then why Holly Doyle's in the saddle as well, I don't know, but it's all a bit odd. But anyway, so that's on the drift 4-1 with Jack mentioning the 3-year-old angle at this time of year, that and dramatised for juice trainer Carl Burke. Now the new juice trainer is Carl, just winners right, left and centre. Living the dream, like Andy says, could get that run up. Yeah, it's a different course. Obviously, so you don't know what Kirkland's been doing. It might be low numbers probably tomorrow. Who knows? That's the problem with this idiot. Yeah, everyone's playing.
He'll go and water this rail, won't he? Yeah, it's a different course.
You can't guarantee him watering the right rail, though, can you?
I don't believe they ever water evenly at Haydock.
No,
it's embarrassing. I'd moan about it on Twitter today. I mean, we were looking at good to soft times today, as Andy said. It's not rained in 2 weeks.
No, it rained. We had my ground's pretty firm out in the old garden and the old green sward out the back. On my putting green.
The reason why I think Kirkland is probably one of the worst in the game is backed up by statistics. If you look at stalls 1 and 2 on the round course, 7 furlongs and above. It has really big streaks. It's either really bad to be drawn on the inside, in other words, watering, because that's where they probably water most, you'd think, or it tends to be like last 2 years the other way around, where the inside's good. So there's clearly a consistency issue, because this isn't random. Like over seasons, like 1 and 2's either terrible or it's like really good. It's a really difficult track to play, Doc. You've got to be brave there if you fancy one short to think that you're going to get fair racing, as Kirkland has proved time and time again this week. So, Andy, where are you? You've obviously gone for Twilight Calls. Jack, your thoughts on this?
Put up Royal Acclaim in this one, Lee.
Yeah, you have. Yeah, it's the filly that Adam Norman.
That's the one.
Wanted to fist. Last year at Fister Mule.
Edit that bit out.
I look forward to his paddock report if he's there tomorrow.
Yeah, he will. I think he will be, old Dom. He might drop over on the old M60, so he for the standard of racing.
He's there, won't he?
Yeah. So have we anything else to add on this? Okay, we'll move from Haddock, thank God. We'll go to Glorious for what they've got on the TV, and it's just the first 2 races. Obviously, I've got to sit the first one out. This is my balls deep bet, and I really have gone balls deep on it. Thoughts on this, chaps?
I've rode in with you. I've just nicked all the 13-8.
Wonderful. That's what we like. Fuck off, listeners. Right.
There wasn't any there. I can tell. Hardly any there.
Yeah, I always lie about prices as well. Jack.
I like your confidence here, Lee. I thought, I was pleased to hear the positive reports on him. I mean, on a class angle, he's the best in the race. Poor James Horton, I mean, his has probably got to be a bit behind, haven't they? So I don't expect Phantom Flight to be up to it really tomorrow. I thought King of Conquest might be an interesting one, come down the handicap route. One during the Craven meeting, I believe, where, at the Guineas meeting, and the Godolphin Yard weren't exactly in the best of form at the time. So I thought he might be interesting up in this company, but yeah, more than happy to row in with yours. I'll take the rest of the 11-8, I suppose, now.
Yes, that's what we like. Shorter prices for all concerned.
Get more on.
Yes, exactly. Just invites you to have more on. That's what I say. Get more on. It's a 4 to 7 chance. It wins head in chest. Jonas?
Phantom Flight's been aimed at the Wolferton, and only a complete idiot would go against such confidence from Kays. So I'm all in with Francesco Clemente.
Yes, let's go for it tomorrow. Let's beat our chests like a big wild Amazon gorilla after race 1 tomorrow as we roar into the racing tomorrow. So Francesco Clemente, unanimous. 205 Goodwood is the Harroways handicap. Quite a valuable race, nice little race. Taff Rege's favourite, and I'll kick us off. I think he's the right favourite in the fact he raced in the Soup at Newbury. Frank's mentioned it on Patreon, and I do like Taff Rege from a handicapping point of view. He's well drawn. He's better than 84. Nothing not to like. Maybe a little bit Value-wise, that's why he didn't make my 3. But I think he's the one to beat, chaps.
I suppose you've always got the thought round there that you're going to get stuck behind 1 or 2. I noticed one of Quinton's this afternoon. What was it, Man of Eden?
Oh, yeah, much the best, yeah.
Absolutely shocker of a run/ride. So if anything is drawn low around here, and I'm always looking for horses drawn low around here over this sort of trip, over 7 furlongs, appreciate that, Tad Breach looks the right favourite. I thought Seeking Gold was pretty interesting. If you look at some of his 2-year-old form last year, obviously finished within a length of the Guineas winner. Now, everyone's calling something different from what I called it, Chaldine, but there's some Ponzi pronunciation for it now, isn't there? It's meant to be called something different now. They highly tried after that. I think he's certainly, off 90, I think he's certainly got a future in handicaps off that sort of mark. I think Seeking Gold's quite interesting.
Stuff. Jack?
Yeah, I think Frank's rode in with him on his Patreon column, but I quite like Bresson in here. Think the return to better ground will be a positive. Got some nice form last year. I know she bombed out in the Guineas, but gave a lot of weight to Remarquee and just got ran down there at Salisbury. I thought 93 might be pretty fair for him, and I'd make him a touch shorter than he is at 11-2. Didn't fancy Dark 30, as Andy mentioned. High draw, made all last time and got a bit of an easy. But yeah, between the Favre and Bresson probably for me.
Andy, Trader's Dream, Bresson. 5 out of 6 starts has gone very short. He's a travelly thing, he's Bresson.
Bit of a ponce, maybe.
A travelly thing. Trouble is when they don't get a run at Goodwood, it's another course where the Goodwood Dodgems will be out. That's what I always say.
Difficult trading courses, Goodwood.
It's a little bit tricky. Yeah, you're right about that high draw stat again this afternoon. Even Autumn Festival, that was drawn wide. A front runner's drawn wide. People still think they're going to get out in front, but the gas they use up from getting in front from out wide still tends to kill them. If you're on a front runner at Goodwood, make sure it's drawn low. That's about the only way they win from there. But I must admit, the old wide draws, I don't mind them when they're held up. They have to always have a bit of a pace collapse from there, which tends to help. But no, I think it's an interesting race. But as I say, Seeking Gold, I thought was interesting off a mark of 90.
Jonas?
I'm going to take an easy 4 points out of Urban Sprawl. And I'd just like to mention Fully Wet.
Honestly, this podcast.
No, seriously, because Gus didn't want to in the Red Darling. One's bounced back, and there's no reason why this one wouldn't. So I do give Fully Wet a bit of a shout as well.
John's all for Fully Wet tomorrow. Tomorrow afternoon, as the gin and pate flows in the households of North Yorkshire. Right, we're mixing to 240 York for their 2 races. Good God. Corker heads the field for juice trainer Carl Burke and Bob Marley in the saddle. We're jamming. 100-35 is Corker. Thing is, though, 17 starts as Corker, 8 times slowly away, Andy Richmond.
Yeah, I know. I'm sure they're going to run this thing over 6 furlongs. He finished like an absolute train last time out, but I just think he's going to mug someone in again. And York can be a bit of as we saw at the Dantu meeting, it can be a bit of a speed fest on the front, can't it? You watch those sprints from there, and I watched them all back again last night for about the 50th time. There weren't much coming from off the pace. Corker was one, and he was the eye catcher, but he really just needs a pace collapse. I'll just be surprised. Surely the producer is going to have a double with Mondomedge and Sheffield Wednesday to get promoted. Got to be the natural. Just call me Doris Stokes there.
Yeah,
she's got to be.
She's a bugger because she's put Mondomedge in my tracker. I mean, it's like that's just trolling me.
It must go off every day then.
Yeah. That's what she's done it for. That's what she's like. This is what I get. Mondomedge's in my tracker, so I know when he's out or when he's entered. And Jonas, I mean, Mondomedge is now looking seriously. Drops another £2. He's got a good chance, has he not?
He has. Yeah, I think we're just about ready for Monday Edge Day, aren't we? Really?
I mean, Monday, mate, Sheffield Wednesday, get on that.
Yeah.
There you go.
This could be it in owners and trainers tomorrow. And Anthony there with jacket hanging half off his back and pant in hand.
No jackets
telling everybody how good it was.
No jackets tomorrow at York, John.
If you're going to have a winner, you'll have to stick a jacket on. It's no good.
Yeah, unless you're Mick Easter, John.
Yeah.
Just buy you an ice cream. Have we got to wear jackets for the Ebor preview?
No, I'll be
stab vest.
So is it smart casual?
Yeah. Andrew's referring to our live preview, which will take place, of course, at the Gilligate pub in York on the Tuesday of the eve of the Ebor meeting, and further details will be posted in due course. Jack, anything to add on this?
Yeah, just looking forward to seeing Mondam Edge after his 8-day break. I hope he's rejuvenated. Bless him. Long time off the track for him, and I think he'll be prime for this.
Good stuff. We're all Mondam Edge camp here. Especially we can wank at his place markets on Betfair because we know he'll be thereabouts. 3:15 at York is the Bronte Cup. I just want Andrew Balding to just disappear off the planet. I mean, today he did it with Sisyphus Strength in the Fillies race at Goodwood. A filly rated 89, trying to sneak black type, which I know that's what breeders want and they want to do it with fillies, but idiots. Up another 8 now. It'll be 97 next time. You can't win handicaps. And then now to be fair, I do think he'll do all right with that over a mile and a half. But this is a different case in Typewriter where ran an absolute belter on ground that was a bit too lively for it, I felt, behind Scampi, the Dante meeting. And I was looking forward to a bit of ease in the ground. She's by Glen Eagles as well. Will appreciate a bit of ease. You can tell that's what she wants. And I just wanted to see her in a nice, like Fillies handicap or something. No. Group 3. Absolute grade A fucking morons. I mean, Fitrier, Jim A and that, absolute idiots. There's actually money for this. 33s into 18s. If that's in the 3 tomorrow, honestly, I'll nominate. You can nominate a forfeit for me to do. Literally no chance. Absolute idiot placing. I mean, Mimic U's rated 112. Well done, Andrew. An idiot. Anyway, what do we think on this?
Well, they've all got a lot to find, haven't they? So they're all in the same camp.
Yeah, but there's a few in here that's sort of like a bit more unexposed than Typewriter. Typewriter is what it is.
I suppose C Flawless from the shirt, who is certainly nobody's fool, is he? He's is the one there, even though she's only rated 87, but you could blow an awful lot of handicap marks in here, couldn't you? I was amazed that Wiki Wheels is well, I can remember the original Wiki Wheels as well. I was amazed that one is actually rated 97.
Unbelievable. I know.
He hasn't done much of a job there, has he?
No. Like you, it probably looks as though the favourite win this, but there are one or two floating around. The obvious one is C Flawless, but like you, I knew you were going to have a roundabout Typewriter. So there's my second Doris Stokes of the evening.
To be fair to Boldy, though, one way, this wouldn't be the best Group 3, would it, Jonas?
No, wouldn't. I mean, you just pull up the drawbridge, don't you?
Well, you'd think so. Remind me what pull up the drawbridge is again.
George Strawbridge.
That's it, yeah. How can I forget that? Yeah, there's that one. Yeah, Danny. Yeah, the drawbridge, Strawbridge. Yeah, Mimic you. Why is that so big? 5-2. What are they doing?
It's probably dead.
Yeah. Anyway, what do we normally do, chaps, in Fillies races?
Fuck them off.
Fuck them. We should have backed Hookham.
Yeah. Quite hate as well.
Yeah. Shall we cover Ireland, chaps?
Why not?
On Sunday, just a couple of races. The Tattersalls Gold Cup. Verdeni 7-4-5. Baybridge 15-8. Luxembourg 3-1. Jonas, where are we at here?
I'm glad I don't have to have a bet. I think there's a Verdeni. Actually, yeah, I think Verdeni on the ground.
Why not Baybridge? Too quick.
I think so.
Same for Luxembourg.
Don't know about that. I thought he looked a bit cunty first time up.
Do you think he's lost him?
I don't know, but I wouldn't like to bet him straight. I want to find out.
I think what is clear that Verdani's worst performance for me last year, I felt, came in the Eclipse. I know that sounds stupid. It's won an Eclipse, but Mishriff, as we know, was desperate.
Yeah,
and it's only Native Trails only just behind him. I just felt that was actually Verdani's worst performance last year on quick. He did some belters, obviously, in the Arc. He was third to Luxembourg in the Irish Champion, very unlucky as well. You know, a lot of people moaning.
Yeah.
So maybe Verdani needs a little bit of cut as well, but probably get away with it probably more than the other two.
I think so. Yeah, I mean, I'm not convinced a fast track like the Curragh's Haydock would be a bridge, but I would expect him to come on to the Guineas. And it's a tight race. I couldn't bet one against the other, to be honest. As I say, if you put a gun to me, I'd say Verdani, but won't be surprised if the other one won.
Yeah, I agree with you on this. Andy?
Yeah, it's interesting what John says about Bay Bridge there. You probably just have a little bit of a doubt on the ground as well. Luxembourg, yeah, what's his race last time out? Again, I'm not too convinced about him. Probably a bit of Christoph and Verdani, if I was going to have a bet, and I probably won't in that race.
Okay, the Irish 1000. Tahira, I quoted on one of the sermons after the Guineas. I think this filly will conquer all this summer. I think she's a fantastic horse with an amazing engine, amazing turn of foot, and nothing to beat here whatsoever. And the 15-8 on is basically the price for her to turn up, is it not, John?
Could have a double with Francesco Clementi, couldn't
a blogger double. I'm turning into a blogger. Blogger double. That is a blogger double. Tahira and Francesco Clementi. Yeah.
You'd have to think she'd kill these, wouldn't you?
You'd think so. Andy?
Straight away after the 1000, I thought if the front two ever meet again, then you're in your house on Tahira, to be honest with you. And I just really, not my sort of price at all, but I always think of it in the terms of if I didn't want to back it, would I want to lay it? And no, I wouldn't.
Yeah, it's like, yeah, exactly. You look at other things in the race, you think, right, would I want to back Meditate? Why would I back Meditate when Tahira's beat her twice comprehensively? Curragh was just not in the same league. The same with Jackie O. He's such a poor 1000 that I actually don't think 8 to 15 is bad at all. I'll be honest. You wouldn't have been offended if they'd have put her in at 2 to 7 or 3 to 10. You know, something like that. But I think it's just the price to show up, really. So Tahira is an absolute banker. But sorry, that's not original, folks. We've gone on that long on this show that Jack's battery's gone. So we lost Jack towards the end there. Man overboard. He'd had enough. He'd had enough. But we hope you. We hope
you need to pay more of the £7 out of the old Patreon.
Absolutely, get subscribing.
Better phone.
Get subscribed to Patreon. Poor Jack can't afford a good phone. There you go. There you have it.
He's giving you them 2 nice vouchers, and you've got to give him some more money for his Patreon.
Indeed.
There you go.
Yeah, me, John and Chris are back with more nonsense on Sunday in the sermon, as always. And we thank you for listening. And we hope that you back some winners and follow us in on the good things this weekend. That's all from us. Bye for now.